In society, there is a very well-known saying, once you reach rock bottom, the only thing left to do is rise. It was used by the Romans, the Greeks, probably. But much to that saying, there is also another side to that coin, and that's once you reach rock bottom, the only thing left to do is dig. This is a situation where the shovels are out, the digging has commenced, and it has to do with everybody's favorite pathological liar, Boogie. I talked about Boogie about a week or two ago, and I was hoping that I wouldn't have to, because that entire situation with the crypto and the scam, it was not fun to talk about or read about, because it was just a really sad situation. Scamming people out of money is already a terrible, terrible thing. How could it possibly get any worse? How about faking cancer? Yeah. The bar has been raised for this one somehow. Now, this was a situation that occurred about a week or two ago, and recently in these past couple days, more information has been coming out, and it's just an incredibly sick situation. And I think it just really shows how much of a monster Boogie can really be. It seems like each year he just continues to show more and more of his face, and it's not a very pretty face. So it all started off with the claim that Boogie has cancer. He's been making that claim for about 2 years or so. It's been a couple years, so the cancer claim isn't exactly new. However, it's kind of been into question for a little bit, only because of, Boogie. Boogie has become, well known for being a pathological liar. He lies all the time. And with the more recent drama with the cryptocurrency and him lying about that, it kind of became more into question, because one of the excuses that he used for the cryptocurrency, which I didn't mention in the video, but one of the excuses was, oh, well, this is for, my cancer, because I need to pay for those treatments and whatever. But with this more recent drama, people were starting to call into question if his cancer claims were legitimate. And as people who gave him money, they started to demand evidence. They wanted to see that he actually had the diagnosis for cancer, to which Boogie refused, saying that it's his own medical information. He doesn't need to give you anything. It's his own personal medical history. And normally I would agree, because it's extremely personal information, but it kind of changes with the circumstances of Boogie for two main reasons. One, he is a known liar who has lied multiple times. And two, he used that diagnosis for money, as a way to get money. So people were starting to call into question, and it got to a point where multiple creators got together to pull together money and offered to pay Boogie 80 grand. $80,000, 5 figures. All they required was just a little bit of evidence so that they could check to see if that was actually true and that Boogie was telling the truth. To which Boogie refused. What? People go on Chopped for the chance to win less than a quarter of what he was offered, and all he had to do was show his phone. He didn't need to do any physical labor. And again, he used the same exact excuse that he used last time, like, it's my own personal information, it's medical, I'm not going to show you any of that. You don't need it. And frankly, the whole privacy excuse is probably the worst excuse of all, considering it's Boogie, and he airs everything out about his life all the time. When he was talking to people, he took his shirt off, because apparently, I don't know, that was proof that he had cancer. I don't know. Combining Boogie with the word privacy is only done ironically, because he's not a private person at all. Hell, he's the guy that helped make the podcast that kind of showed how much of a terrible, terrible person, not even how much of a terrible person he is in terms of his relationships towards women and also just multiple other things. I don't like that documentary. And he agreed to do it, so that privacy excuse is just that, an excuse. So the fact that he refused to show evidence, even though he was presented a ton of money from multiple very well-known YouTubers, and this is apparently a guy who really, really needs money for his cancer treatment to the point where he starts scamming his own audience, all those things combined made it not look good for Boogie, and it got to a point where I'd argue most of the internet didn't believe him when he talked about his cancer. And then ironically enough, Keemstar kind of laid everything out in a tweet that he made where he talked about how, yeah, Boogie is pretty much faking the cancer. I'll read the tweet verbatim just because it kind of goes over all of the points. To the best of my knowledge, based on everything I know, Boogie went on steroids that could cause cancer in the blood years ago and was warned of the dangers. 2 years ago, after he lost all his money in crypto, he went to the doctor and had high red blood cells indicating he may have cancer blood. Before he got any confirmation, he rushed to make a YouTube video announcing he had cancer. 2 years later, he still doesn't have confirmation he has cancer, but he's been telling everyone he does and used it for sympathy multiple times. Whether it was promoting his crypto scam or asking people to financially support him, lying about the cancer could be considered fraud. Good job, Keem. He is scheduled to get a confirmation test to see if he 100% has cancer soon. So ironically, even though he's lied, he may still have cancer. So that's pretty much confirmation that he lied. And then a couple days ago, Boogie himself pretty much mentioned that, yeah, I don't know for sure I have cancer, but I may still have cancer.
Jackson Clark was right about everything. He wasn't entirely, but I'll say it anyway. Jackson Clark was right about everything, and I'm a disgusting liar. And what was the last part?
And everything he said was true and honest.
And everything he said he believed to be true and honest. It was pretty close to the truth. I wasn't fully diagnosed yet. I still may have it, and we are treating it, but yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, though. And that's the strange thing about this entire situation. He didn't know for sure he had cancer, but still presented himself for these past couple years that he did have cancer. But he didn't know. That's like getting a birthday card, holding it up saying, hey, I've got some money for my birthday, without actually opening it. It's not a great analogy, but I'm going to use it anyway. He didn't even bother to get a confirmation of his diagnosis. He got things that might indicate he has cancer, but nothing absolutely guaranteed. All right, now, Mr. Boogie, we have some things that are a little bit concerning to us. They may indicate that you have cancer, but we'll have to know after you run some tests. I have cancer. Oh, wait a second. Yep, I have cancer. Now's the time to start asking people for money. I'm gonna scream it from the rooftops. I've got cancer. It's just an extremely messed up situation. Even though he may still have cancer, which is the strangest thing about this entire situation, he still lied about having cancer. That's almost impressive. Frankly, it doesn't make the situation any more better, and it doesn't make it any less messed up. You know, I thought that he reached rock bottom when he started doing the crypto scam. I never imagined in a million years that he'd go as far to fake cancer, because that's what it is. It's faking cancer. And sure, he didn't know for sure that he didn't have cancer, he just knew for sure that it wasn't confirmed. It's the same thing. It's still a lie. In the near distant future, Boogie should be getting some kind of confirmation that he does or does not have cancer. But again, I can't even say that for sure, because this guy is just a pathological liar. The thing is, Boogie just lost all credibility within these past couple of years when it comes to crypto, and now this horrific situation that he's put himself in and put others in. And who knows, if he gets the diagnosis and it comes back negative, he might not share it, because he's already refused to share stuff in the past. We might not get the actual confirmation of whether he does or does not. That's just well within his realm. Boogie's career is effectively dead in the water and has been for multiple years, and yet somehow he always finds a way to make himself look worse. I think the best thing that he did was these past couple days where he decided to just completely step off of Twitter for 2 days. And then he immediately came back because he can't help himself. His resume for terrible things that he's done in the past and just done on the internet has just continued to stack up. This is the cream of the crop. It does not get any worse than this. When it comes to things that you can do online or just in general, there are some things that are just so abhorrent that you wouldn't imagine anybody doing. This is one of those situations, and it's just so gross. But having said that, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with the diagnosis, if we're actually gonna get any information. We don't know. I really don't know. One thing I can say for sure, and something that really isn't in doubt, is that Boogie lied about having cancer. He knew this information for multiple years and ran with that for multiple years and used that information and that sympathy in order to garner, I don't know, money, respect. I don't know. It's mind-boggling. And this thing's far from over. I'm sure by the time I post this, a couple days will pass and then something else will pop up. I just hope it doesn't. But we'll just have to wait and see. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu.